across the country. If you're listening in the Volta region, this is OFM 92.5, the Gban FM 102.5. It's also picking the bulletin live in Tamale. We are live on Radio 192.1 in the Upper West region. We are live on Radio Power 96 in Spain, and around the world you can join us on classfmonline.com. And coming up this afternoon, minority in parliament criticizes the conviction and sentencing of Chairman Wontumi, describing the ruling as a miscarriage of justice.
We speak instead for our own constitutional duty as the minority in parliament to interrogate the conduct of the state wherever the public interest demands.
Meanwhile, residents of Samreboy have been sharing mixed reactions over the conviction and sentencing of Chairman Wontumi. You want to stay with us for details in that regard?
Also coming up in this bulletin, Accra High Court reshadows proceedings in the trial of the former National Buffer Stock Company CEO Hanan Abdul Wahab and wife after Wontumi's case disrupted the court's schedule. Also coming up in this bulletin, U.S. Immigration Court rules Office of Special Prosecutor failed to prove criminal case against Ken Oforiatta. We have excerpt of a transcript from the court hearing. Still in this bulletin, the Health Minister calls for greater investment in Africa's health systems.
We must finance our own health. The vision of the Abuja Declaration remains as relevant today as it was when it was first endorsed in 2001. Africa's health system must increasingly be financed by Africa's own resources, predictable, sustainable, and domestically generated.
Brussels Airlines flight make emergency return to Accra after technical issue. Coming up in African news, Nigeria traffic officers have been arrested for allegedly seeking bribe from country anti-corruption boss. These plus many other stories coming your way shortly.
And we are grateful that you could join us here on 12 Live on Class 91.3 FM. My name is Charles Akrofi, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Aidoo.
We're starting off from the minority in parliament because the minority in parliament has described the conviction and sentencing of New Patriotic Party's Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwi-Boesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, as a miscarriage of justice. The Accra High Court sentenced Chairman Wontumi to 20 years imprisonment with hard labor after finding him guilty on charges related to unlawful mining activities, including Akonta mining. At a press conference following the delivery of the judgment by the Accra High Court, the minority criticized the decision and accused the Attorney General of pursuing what he described as selective justice in cases involving illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey. According to the caucus, the prosecution of Chairman Wontumi and Akonta Mining Company Limited reflect a pattern of targeting individuals associated with the MPP while overlooking alleged cases involving members of the governing National Democratic Congress. The minority alleged that some NDC figures have also been linked to illegal mining activities but have not faced similar action. We would connect to the phone lines and speak to our parliamentary affairs reporter for the latest updates. But first off, let's hear the minority when they addressed the news conference earlier after the ruling on Chairman Wontumi.
We speak instead for our own constitutional duty as the minority in parliament to interrogate the conduct of the state wherever the public interest demands. Before we turn to the law, a word for the human beings at the center of this, to Chairman Wontumi, to his family, to the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region, and to our party at home and abroad. You are not alone. And your pain is a shared one. Grief and anger are natural in a moment like this, The best tribute we can pay Chairman Wuntumi right now is a result. The minority will do whatever is lawfully and properly within its power through Parliament and through public advocacy to see that justice is done and that the defects which have robbed the judgment of its legitimacy are corrected. Let us be equally clear about where we stand on the law itself. We hold the judiciary of this republic in the highest constitutional regard.
1.3 FM.
We do not impugn Justice Kokuvi Tay personally, and we invite no one to disrespect this judgment. We support accountability. We support the vigorous prosecution of illegal mining, a scourge that has degraded our rivers and endangered the livelihoods of generations yet unborn. We seek immunity for no one on the basis of the party. But 4 serious defects run through this case, and each deserves nation's full attention.
That's Patricia Apieje, the Deputy Minority Leader in Parliament. Let's get onto the phone lines and speak to our Parliamentary Affairs reporter, Zita Okwan. Zita, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time with us on 12 Live. So, what is the latest from the caucus, even as we speak now? You are in Parliament, isn't it?
Charles, good afternoon. Can you hear me? I can barely hear you. If you could...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so I was asking what the latest from the caucus as regards, the sentencing of Chairman Wuntumi is concerned is.
Charles, sitting is yet to begin. It was scheduled to start at 12, but as we speak now, the bell has not been rung for members of parliament to walk into the chamber. But a few minutes ago, we had the minority hold a press conference into the case of Chairman Wuntumi. At this press conference, they acknowledged the environmental destruction caused by illegal mining and supporting efforts to hold offenders accountable. Well, the minority caucus argued that the proceedings leading to Chairman Wuntumi's conviction were marred by 4 major defects which in its view, undermine the legitimacy of the judgment. So according to the minority, the first concern relates to the delivery of the judgment in the absence of Chairman Wuntumi's lead counsel, despite a prior notice to the court of the lawyer's professional engagement outside the country. And also, they argue that the right of the accused person to legal representation of their choice is guaranteed under Article 19 of the Constitution and should only be restricted in exceptional circumstances. Charles, the caucus also criticized the trial court's refusal to refer constitutional questions arising from the case to the Supreme Court, and also argued that Article 130 of the Constitution reverses constitutional interpretation exclusively for the apex court and cited previous Supreme Court decisions, which it said required lower courts to make such referrals were constitutional issues. The minority called on the Attorney General to publish the state's enforcement record on illegal mining across the political spectrum, and then also called on the Court of Appeal to scrutinize the denial of counsel and then the refusal to refer and the zeal piercing with equal and unflinching rigor. They also called on the judiciary to reaffirm the threshold for constitutional referral. Also, they talked about the Supreme Court's own decision in the Zenator case, and they call on all Ghanaians of every party to insist that the standards which cleared Chikata name in 2016 be demanded with equal conviction today. So, Charles, this is briefly what the minority has been speaking to the press about.
Have they given an indication of what their next course of action is going to be?
Well, they didn't allow for further questions, but in their statement, it was basically on their call to the Attorney General and then also a call to the Court of Appeal, looking at what the MPP had stated earlier that they will move to the Court of Appeal to appeal to file in an application. We're looking at that as well. But basically, this is what the minority has been seeing in Parliament today.
Zita, thank you very much for your time. And that's our parliamentary affairs correspondent, Zita Okwan, all the way from Parliament. Meanwhile, residents of Samraboy in the Western region have expressed mixed reaction following the conviction and sentencing of NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwi and his company, Akonta Mining Company Limited, while some residents believe the court's decision sends a strong signal or message that individuals involved in illegal mining activities can be held accountable. As they say, the ruling has raised questions about how mining operations that allegedly affected their lands were allowed to continue. Take a listen.
Mamena Refornia Tifasi. Any day, some of boy for a nigisem edimaye. You hear in Sensema Sibibu illegal mining activities such as my own to me, contaminated the course or some boya. And then Yanko Pontum. A bang penny for judges said the ruling about to just say, won't me, a D4 was sans and some more year no more. Now I'm out of them 20 years no. And I need the same Edma if we say, Sada Jumo ye and I a month ago. To me, can't home in Swedish, seven fast summer boy community. Me, I will not yes, see me no man in say, my made a boo, enough for Phoebe Naja Padia say, this is a bino,
which I'm out to me. Or buy no, I have some about my own. She nipa back for. A coin of Fasuma in Suya Fasama Boy Queen. Nanina, who didn't free send up our womanty. Cause a man who said a man on my and then get him a paso.
A young boy, you need 2 minutes baby on your feet. Because baby bray, I have politics. A year no more council politicians, a dear, really, and your politicians. Any penny be bree, a bit of politics, you would mean answer, but wouldn't to me answer me, dear. No baby on yana who didn't fee, and the emerald ruling about me, the enemy is a ruling never banners are. A march and shumpo, and the buy a young cry.
And those are some residents of Samraboy in the Western region who are expressing, essentially what they are saying is that they are excited over the ruling. And they say that the activities of the mining company, Akonta Mining Company Limited, has brought some level of distraction to them as a people and the town. So essentially what they are saying is that they are excited about the ruling. But let's get onto the phone lines one more time and straight away to Samraboy and engage Ohini Nana, who is a local reporter there. Ohini, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time with us on 12 Live. So give us a feel of how, even though we've listened to some of them, some of the residents who spoke to us or who have been speaking to the media early on, but give us a feel of what generally the conversation has been in town after the ruling by the court yesterday.
All right, good afternoon to you and your viewers. Samraboy community members are really, really excited with the ruling that came yesterday, and then they were anticipating that such ruling will come because looking at the level of destruction caused by the Akonta mining led by Bernard Ntwi, Chairman Wontumi, and its associates, it was clear that the law would take its course. But then speaking to some people close to the area where the devastation was most affected, Mempasem community, the community people were much happy and they were complaining that though the judgment has felt right, they were expecting that those that were affected, that is the farmers, that their cocoa, their foodstuff were being destroyed by these Akonta mining people, could have also given some kind of compensation. Because as we speak now, their source of livelihood is being limited. Where they used to get their food, where they used to get their daily bread has been destroyed by these Akonta people. And now they have to stay home and just resort to some family members outside Samraboy and its environs for survival. So they were thinking, though the government took a good step by ensuring that justice is served, they were also expecting that those who are affected, that is those whose farms and properties were destroyed, would have also be compensated to at least also cushion them a little bit. So as for Samraboy and its environs, there's a mixed feeling. Some is saying the conviction is good, but the 20 years jail term is too harsh for him. They should have asking to pay a certain huge amount in connection with some limited years. Others too are saying that no, the 20 years deserves to be served to Chairman Wuntumi and its associates. So if you come to Samra Boy, the community people most are very, very happy because you see, there was a time where Akonta mining and then its associates together with the security people engaged the community people with some guns and some gunshots.
Right.
Nearly brought into some fatalities and other things. Aged and then women and children were even afraid to go out because of the level of insecurity that was here in Samra Boy.
I see.
Because Samatex Cement Private Company has to rise together with the youth that they are destroying the forest and they will not allow them to continue with that. And so the security tax came in because the youth did not permit their excavators and other machines to enter. And it created a lot of things. So people were just waiting. That though in Ghana, some people say that people that have money or usually have their way when it comes to the law. But now, the law has spoken, conviction has been served or has come out, and they are happy.
They're excited about it, you say?
That he will serve the term that he's supposed to serve.
Very well.
Any political backing or bias or something. So
right.
That's what's happening here.
Ohini, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. And,
You're welcome,
we wish you all the best too. So that's Ohini Nana, who is a local reporter and Samra Boy in the Western region. This is 12 Live here on Class 91.3 FM.
The Criminal Division of the Accra High Court has rescheduled the trial of the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Buffer Stock Company, Hanan Abdul Wahab, after proceedings were disrupted by the lengthy judgment delivered in the case involving the New Patriotic Party Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwibusiaku, known as Chairman Wuntumi. The court was unable to proceed with the Hanan Abdul Wahab matter as scheduled after spending extended hours delivering the judgment in separate case involving Chairman Wuntumi and his company, Akonta Mining Limited. Let's go on the line and speak to Mame Ababru, who is our court correspondent, to give us details of what transpired yesterday and also find out when that case involving Abdul Hanan would also be heard and delivered. We are still working on the phone lines. As and when we do get her, we'll speak to her. Charles, let's do some other stories.
Right. Now, Minister for Health, Kwabena Minta-Kando, has called on African countries to take greater responsibility for financing their healthcare system and strengthening health services across the continent. Speaking at the African Union Health Summit in Accra, the minister described Africa's maternal mortality rate as unacceptable, noting that nearly 200,000 women die every year from pregnancy and childbirth-related causes or cases that are largely preventable. He urged African governments to move beyond declarations and commit to concrete action, stressing that the continent must increasingly finance its own health systems through predictable and sustainable domestic resources. The minister also called for stronger health sovereignty by expanding local manufacturing of medicines, vaccines, and other health technologies. Now, improving regulatory cooperation and building resilient regional supply chains to reduce Africa's dependence on imports. Take a listen to the minister.
When healthcare pushes families deeper into poverty, we cannot honestly claim we have achieved universal health coverage. We have simply shifted the burden from illness to death. This is precisely why the African Union roadmap to 2030 and beyond is so important. And it is why this ministerial session cannot become another conversation that ends a declaration with no meaningful action. Our people deserve decisions. Allow me, therefore, to suggest 3 commitments that we can no longer postpone. First, we must finance our own health. The vision of the Abuja Declaration remains as relevant today as it was when it was first endorsed in 2001. Africa's health system must increasingly be financed by Africa's own resources, predictable, sustainable, and domestically generated. A continent that finances its own health sources, its own health, secures its own future. It cannot be held hostage to changing priorities beyond its shores.
Now, the health minister further emphasized that universal health coverage can only be achieved by prioritizing primary health care, including investing in community clinics, frontline health workers, nurses, midwives, and physician assistants. Highlighting Ghana's effort, the minister cited the restoration of full funding for the National Health Insurance Scheme, the establishment of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, also known as Mahama Cares, to support patients with chronic illnesses, and the launch of the government's free primary healthcare initiative aimed at removing financial barriers to essential health services.
We must place primary health care at the very center of health system. Universal health coverage will not be achieved through tertiary hospitals alone. It begins much closer where people live. It begins in the community clinic. It begins with a community health worker. It begins with the nurse, the midwife, the physician assistant, and the frontline teams who form the backbone of our health systems. If we truly believe primary health care is the foundation of universal health coverage, then we must equip it, finance it, and value the people who deliver it every single day.
And that's Kwabdam Intakando, the Minister for Health.
Charles, let's go back to our earlier story because our court correspondent, Mami Ababru, joins us on the line. Mami, tell us what actually transpired yesterday and which other case was disrupted by Chairman Wuntumi's case. Mami Abba, can you hear me? Can you tell us what other case, apart from Abdul Hanan case, was disrupted by Chairman Wuntumi's case?
Class 91.3 FM.
Era.
Mami Abba, can you hear me?
Hello?
I'm asking if you could tell us what transpired yesterday and what other case was disrupted by Chairman Wuntumi's case, apart from Abdul Hanan.
Okay, Elizabeth, so we know that Hanan and his wife, Aidoo, have been charged with allegations of causing financial loss to the state and orchestrating a scheme to divert public funds meant for the National Buffer Stock Company. Now, lawyer for Hanan, Godfrey Dame, filed an application asking the court to actually strike out the entire charge sheet, which he describes as defective and fatally defective and in contravention to his client's right to fair trial. And so the court was supposed to have hear the application yesterday, but as we know, the deputy AG and some state attorney were engaged in the long judgment in Wuntumi's case yesterday, and so the court has subsequently adjourned the case to tomorrow to hear the application.
All right, so keep following. Is there any other case in court you need to fill us in?
So as part of the 150th anniversary celebration of the Supreme Court, there's a moot court ongoing at the moment, and so I'll bring the information as and when.
That's my colleague Mami Ababru, who is reporting from court. Let's do some other stories. A Brussels airline flight bound from Lomé has made a U-turn to Accra after technical problem was detected shortly after departure. There's more in this following report.
A Brussels Airlines flight from Accra to Lomé was forced to return to Kotoka International Airport on Monday evening after developing a technical fault shortly after takeoff. According to the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, flight SN278 departed Accra at 6:06 p.m. on Monday, July 20, but encountered a technical problem mid-air. In a statement, the GCAA commended the crew for adhering to established safety procedures, adding that the safety of passengers and crews remain its top priority. The authority said Brussels Airlines is currently investigating the technical issue under the oversight of the GCAA in line with the standard aviation safety protocols. Following the incident, Brussels Airlines cancelled flight SN278. The GCAA says affected passengers have been assisted by airlines officials in line with the Ghana Civil Aviation Economic Directives 2019, specifically Part 2 on the consumer protection. The authority has also assured the traveling public that Ghana's aviation safety and security oversight system remains robust. No injuries were reported. Further updates will be provided as the investigations continues.
That was a report. To some African news, four Nigerian police men accused of setting up an illegal checkpoint to extort money from drivers picked on the wrong man, the head of one of the country's anti-corruption agencies. Mr. Aliyu, who led the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, has alleged that he was stopped while driving in the capital Abuja on Saturday and forced to withdraw 53 naira from a cash machine. The police commissioner Ahmed Sanusi accused the men of abandoning the official post to set up an unauthorized roadblock. They are now face the police disciplinary procedures and could result in their sacking.
Well, it's now time for sports, and not your regular host, but Esther Mesiham Baba is right here for sports.
Class Sports. Get it first.
And in sports, what we do understand, Esther, even as you get ready to fill us in, we understand that Ghana Black Stars finished 24th in the final standings of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, reaching the newly introduced round of 32. Esther Mesiham Baba, my colleague from the sports desk, has joined us. Esther, give us more details.
Charles, as we all know, finally, the World Cup has come to an end, and it will amaze you to know that the Black Stars finished ahead of reigning African champions Senegal. For general rankings, the Black Stars have risen 8 places to 65th in the latest FIFA World Cup ranking, following their round of 32 at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So let me bring a list of the countries that were, in the final standings. So number 1 on the list is Spain, followed by Argentina, England, France, Norway, Belgium, Morocco, Switzerland, Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, United States, Portugal, Canada, Egypt, Paraguay, Netherlands, Germany, Cote d'Ivoire, Croatia, Japan, Australia, Dr. Congo, and Ghana. So I'll just end here. So that is the ranking that finally we have from FIFA.
Ghana moving up the rank to 65th globally and 14th in the CAF on the African continent is certainly some good news to actually pride ourselves in. But years ago, of course, you do know that Ghana would be somewhere in the first 10 or so. But gradually, there's hope coming back, isn't it? Elizabeth, what more do we have? Even as we ready
so Parliament will today begin consideration of $331 million project designed to improve infrastructure in secondary and TVET schools as part of efforts to strengthen the free senior high school program. Education Minister Haruna Iddrisu announced that the initiative during the Government Accountability Series, where he presented a mid-year assessment of the education sector. He said the project will expand classrooms, dormitories, and laboratories in 210 secondary and TVET schools across the country to address infrastructure pressure caused by increased enrollment.
I'm happy to note that in respect of infrastructure, it is for that reason that President John Dramani Mahama, leading with his Minister for Finance, have completed negotiations. Indeed, Cabinet has given its approval. Parliament should be looking at it of a 331 million Star J project to expand access to secondary education, to improve its quality and relevance in Ghana. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Star J project will cover some 210 schools across senior high school and senior high.
That's the Education Minister Haruna Iddrisu. Now, are you ready to review your fortune? Review Scratch for Win is here to change your life for good. Just dial *850*5# and win up to 1 million Ghana cedis or more in cash prizes instantly. It's easy, it's exciting, it's regulated by the National Lottery Authority. Just dial *850*5# on all networks. Choose your station to play. Select stake amount from 5 cedis to 2,000 Ghana cedis. Choose your lucky card out of the 5 options. Confirm gameplay and enter your Momo PIN. Receive your game results and winners instantly. It's easy, fun, and exciting. Get ready to scratch, win, and live your best life with Review Scratch for Win. Up to 1 million Ghana cedis up for grabs. Review Scratch for Win. Scratch again.
And that's how we wrap up today's edition of 12 Live, which came your way from our studios here at 3rd Work Street, North Laboni, Accra. My name is Charles Akrofi.
I'm Elizabeth Aidoo.
Up next is the afternoon business review with Nana Yankra, Nana Jaman Prempe, and the team. Remember, at 5 o'clock, 5:05 will come your way, where we delve into the day's big issues with some expert analysis. But always remember to visit classfmonline.com for some more stories. Have a good afternoon.